Welcome to Story Hour, a virtual meetup hosted by Wolf and Heron.
Okay, Candice, are you ready?
Yes, I am ready. Have you ever fallen in love at first sight? It happened to me with a cat. The cat's name is Reggie. It was in February 2018 that the first time I met with him. Back then, he was one of my friend's cats. I met with him when I visited my friend, and we really hit it off. He is a Persian cat with fluffy hair and big round eyes. My heart melted when he looked at me. Well, he purred loudly as I cuddled him. My friend has 3 cats in total, but Reggie is my favorite. I visited several times afterwards, and every time we had a great time together. I liked him so much that I bought him cat cans and cat toys. And then one day, my friend said to me, "Hey, you like Reggie so much. How about I keep the other 2 cats and you adopt Reggie?" Wow, it's such a sweet offer. But I panicked. Why? Because it feels like a huge commitment, something I am afraid of. I got overwhelmed by the thought that, oh my God, a cat is going to move in with me. What am I going to do? I felt through a million things. I didn't grow up with a cat or a dog, so I am inexperienced with pets. To make things worse, I myself came to America in 2017. Sometimes I feel I'm not even able to take care of myself, let alone having a cat. What if he doesn't like the furniture in my apartment? What if he takes up too much room in my bed? What if he gets sick? Is there a vet in Ann Arbor? Does he work 24/7? Can I call 911 in case of an emergency? And these are just short-term things. How about the long term? I still plan to travel, but I don't think I can take him with me when traveling. But where can I find someone to look after him when I am gone? And in the long term, if I want to move back to China, how can I take him onto the plane to fly with me for 14 hours overseas? Can he adapt to the new life in China? The water is different. The air is different. And he cannot speak Chinese in the cat language, so he cannot make friends with the Chinese cats. How can he survive? It was in March that my friend offered me to adopt Reggie. And I tortured myself with these questions in my spring break, in my map, in my summer internship. I couldn't come up with a decision, and I doubted if I could ever do. And finally, I got sick of this thinking process. I was still fearful of this commitment, but I knew I had to put an end to it. It's driving me crazy. So I said to my friend, okay, let me take a leap of faith, but I will return Reggie to you if things don't work out. So in September 2018, after I came back from my summer internship, I adopted Reggie. It turned out to be great after Reggie moved in. We quickly started our new life together. He sleeps by my pillow. He gives me warm welcome every time I come back home. And he likes to lay on my keyboard when I use my computer. There were a couple times in my recruiting that I just held Reggie crying. You're the only one who still likes me. He has brought me so much joy and happiness, but the aha moment came after a disaster. One day, Reggie somehow got poop on his butt. And he successfully managed to make it everywhere in my apartment. On the floor, of course, on the couch near the sofa. And there's even some stains on the wall. Seriously, how did he make it? I almost got passed out by the strong smell when I came back home, and I pulled out a scarf to cover my nose and my mouth before I started cursing. It took me 2 hours to clean up everything, including him. As I was mopping the floor for the 3rd time, Reggie sat there looking at me with his big round eyes. as if nothing has ever happened. Suddenly it hit me. I had been afraid of this commitment because I put too much stress on me. I thought it's me taking care of Reggie and it only goes one way. But the truth is, Reggie takes care of me as well. He has lightened up my life with his unlimited trust and unconditional love. I was afraid that things might go wrong, and yes, we just had a horrible poop disaster. But you know what? Reggie and I are fine. Actually, we are doing great. I love him as much as ever. I never regret taking him on. The thought of returning Reggie to my friend doesn't even occur to me. Reggie has made my life so wonderful. To think that I almost turned him down just because of my fear of commitment, how ridiculous is that? Now I still have moments when those millions of questions just rushing back into my head, but I am no longer afraid because I know Reggie and I got each other. We will work out everything together. Thank you.
Yay!
Thank you. Yeah. And I would like to bring Reggie to everyone. Hi, Reggie. Say hello to everyone. Oh, he's struggling. Hello. Look at the camera.
He's so fluffy.
Okay. He has to go. Yeah, he is fluffy. Okay, he has to go. Okay. Thank you. Thank you, everyone.
So cute.
That is adorable.
Thank you, Candice, for sharing your story, and thank you for letting us tell you to come here to share your story.
Yep, appreciate it.
Okay,
Yep.
Let's begin. What did Candice do well? What was powerful? What should she hold on to? Yes, Milo.
So I think the story was, it resonates across the board because it's fluffy animals and the relationship that you build with somebody who isn't sure that they can do something, and then in the end it ends up working out perfectly for them. So I appreciated that. One thing that I wrote down was that and this is actually a direct answer to you speaking to me, the pace of your story. Personally, for me, in the beginning, it was a little uncomfortable because I am coming off of doing 85 in my car that was just stolen and rattling my story off. And your pace kind of interrupted my process. And as you talked, I joined you emotionally in the story. So I just wanted to point out that that was an effect that I wrote down actually as a piece of advice for myself to have my own terms and not be guided by my emotion when telling a story.
Mm-hmm. No.
Yeah, you let the listener have enough time to really hear what you're sharing, and they can catch up with you. Robert, did I see your hand as well?
Yes, sure. Yeah, Candice, I really enjoyed the story. I really appreciate your vulnerability, too. You really shared how afraid you were and all your doubts and everything. And so that was very, very real. You made sure to, just to really reveal what you were going through. Of course, and your commitment, to I also what worked was what you discovered in the experience, and you revealed that, and so you have a beautiful outcome from and what you learned in the process. So that was beautiful as well.
Molly.
Candice, I loved your story. I also really liked the pace. I thought you had some very helpful pauses for us to process things as it was going through. And especially when there's anything about fear, I love when people show how when we fear things, we sometimes have irrational ways of rationalizing. And so I loved the idea that you were worried about the cat not having any Chinese cat friends. That's totally something that you think of when you're trying to resist something that is possibly coming at you. So I loved that. And I loved how you carried some of the story elements through to the end. So the big round eyes, I love that came up a couple of times. And I think you could even do that a little bit more and especially now that we've seen him, oh my gosh, I would love to know more about his fluffiness and his hair, and he just like has such a big personality, just like visually. So, but yeah, that wonderful story. Thank you for sharing.
Thank you.
Mary, go ahead.
Yeah, I really liked it. Of course, I've rescued 14 dogs, and I asked myself the same questions over and over, except about if they like Chinese dogs. But what I loved about this story, and I love about a good story, is a very clear idea of what the story is about, and that theme is follow through. Like this, then this, and this is what happened. And I know exactly, I'm not sure where you're going. I actually thought with the amazing descriptions of the issues you would have if you had a cat, I was almost convinced of giving up my dog. You know, it's like, okay, she's right. These dogs are a pain in the ass. But but anyway, because I almost thought you would get the cat and that it would be a story of regret, because you almost made me thinking you weren't going to do it. So that I love that part of it. And the only thing I wanted was a better description of that cat. And then when I saw the cat, oh yeah. Yeah. So yeah, it was great. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. What are some, knowing that Candice has this pretty held in her head, let's just go ahead. Is there anything we could think of that she could consider next time? Milo, I see a hand up.
I was thinking of this as you were saying it. I think the way, like we were talking about hooks before, the best thing you can do when telling the story is talk about the conflict that you had, and then the conversation that you had with your friend. And instead of telling us you adopted Reggie, literally pick him up and just show him in the screen and be like, well, anyway, Reggie and I are now living together. Especially because he was right behind you. I feel like that was a huge missed opportunity. But that was the only thing that I had about that. With regard to your storytelling, it's a practiced story, so it sounds like you've done it a million times. Very comfortable with it. So I really don't have any advice that I could give you. It's done well.
Yep, thank you.
Stephanie.
Candice, I know that, like, for your particular context for this story, for the next time that you're, if performing is the right word, you're delivering it, you are going to be recording yourself, right? And it's going to be a video.
Correct.
And so a couple of things, that does mean that you can actually pick up the cat. And so I had the same thought. I was like, oh my God, here's the moment where your cat can actually be in your story, literally. And so that's something that you could play with. And then the other thing that I would think about from a delivery perspective is that when you do things where your hands come over your face, it can affect the sound quality. And so that's something you want to be aware of. And you might have to record it a couple of times, and you'll notice where, like when you put your hand in front of your mouth, it does something with the sound energy, and then that might impact your delivery. So practice your recording a couple of times.
Last comment,
Sounds
Mary.
good.
Hey, this is what I always say, and now I think I forgot how you started, but I always do this. It's like I would start with, just a little bit more of a scene. I like scenes. I didn't even start with one, but it's that you're staring at this cat, trying, to decide. Now, what am I going to do? And then you can go and do your backstory. But I'd like to be in a scene. It was 10 years ago or whatever. I was looking. I was sitting in a chair, or I don't know. I wasn't sure where you were.
Yeah, Candice, you start with the sentence, have you ever fallen in love at first sight, right?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, she did. Yeah.
That moment. It could be that moment. It's like,
okay. Well, that's nice too.
What is that?
Yeah, here's this cat. I'm staring at him, and I can't decide whether or not to take him home. But I want scene. I like scene, and I realized I didn't even do that.
Well, I think the point though that you do have a good hook, Candice, but the point that Mary's making is an important one in terms of storytelling can be very visual, but in order for it to be visual, you do have to give people a set in a way, and you don't have to say a lot, but you might think about hinting at a time and place and or space, so that then, because it's also just about you, that then you're immediately visualized in my mind of seeing you somewhere doing something and having these thoughts. Like now I'm really picturing it.
Right. You're like walking in the front door of your friend's house and you see Reggie sitting on the armchair of the arm of the couch or something.
Right.
Right? And just that is enough to kind of put you in a living room, get you to see a cat, or like, you know, and then and then like, oh, who is this magical beast?
Yeah. Get it. Yep.
All right. Thanks for the feedback, and one last round of applause for Candice.
Thank you.
Visit wolfandheron.com to find out more about our story hours.